What's up, everyone? Welcome back to F1 America. Thanks for joining us today. It is midway through the 2024 season, and we've had a lot of action. 7 race winners or 8 race winners?
I think it's only 7. I don't think it's 8 yet.
Okay.
But yeah, coming into summer break here, a lot of stuff to talk about. Mercedes is really turning around, being very competitive. Multiple race wins at this point.
My boy Lewis.
Consistent podium. So
My boy Lewis is turning it up.
Lewis is trying to make himself look good before he goes to the absolute shitbox of a Ferrari. So he's on the shitbox spell, man. He's going from one shitbox to another.
Well, when he made the move mid-season, he was or beginning of season, he was looking like a genius, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Basically, just like he set himself up from McLaren, going right into Mercedes, was looking really good. It's not looking so great right now, and Mercedes is really turning it on.
They turn it on, but I wonder if it's like kind of almost too late. Like, yeah, they'll be competitive through the season and maybe next season because it's still the same gen car.
Yeah,
maybe they found the right pace, but then are they?
Dude, it took them like 2 seasons to finally figure that car out, which is kind of a shame, I guess.
But look at Alpine; they're going backwards too, and they kind of had it figured out a little bit. Like they weren't that bad.
They did way better last season.
Yeah, in the first, like coming into that new gen car, they were way better, and then now they were just on the not driving to survive, but just driving.
They're on the decline. Yeah. Crazy. I mean,
they've gone through team principles like they go through cars.
Yeah, they just had a new one reassigned last week.
Bruno is still with the company, I understand, but he's not a principal anymore. I don't know the new guy. I don't know.
Well, it's also weird, like Zach Brown's no longer the principal, right? But yet he still is their main guy, and he acts like kind of like the principal a lot of times, I think.
I think he's still the CEO technically, but because because I've been watching a lot of 100 Days of Indy, and he's been starting to be featured more.
I did see him there.
So
yeah,
I'm still not a Zach Brown fan. Actually, a funny tidbit about Zach Brown is when they pulled I was texting you about this the other day, is they pulled the whole Piastri thing when Alpine announced him, because I mean any team's going to assume like, hey, this is our driver.
Yeah,
he's going to us.
He was their academy. They pretty much signed him, but he didn't
technically sign
the contract.
Or he signed and he's like, never mind, McLaren gave me a better deal.
Something happened, but
that same thing happened to McLaren in IndyCar with Alex Palou, which was the previous year champion, multi-winner. He signed the contract, and then basically, my understanding of it is that his current team, Chip Ganassi Racing, had like right to last refusal or like rights to his services, right? Like last look, and basically said, no, we're going to keep you. And then Alex is like, yeah, I'm going to stay here. And so everybody thought it was weird that he would have been switching because he just won the title with that team and everything. Yeah. And then so I just think it's funny.
Kind of a little taste of his own medicine.
Oh yeah, Zach was like, "Oh yeah, no, we did the right thing." And then in the Indy show, he's bad mouthing the other driver. He's like, "Yeah, why would he do that? That just shows his character. We don't want a driver like that for our team." Blah 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 blah. I'm like, "Huh, that's weird. You literally did the exact same thing like a year prior.
In Formula One. Yeah,
that's strange." Zach Brown is just getting I don't like him anymore.
He rubs you the wrong way.
Yeah.
I get that vibe too. So I'm not like,
when I first saw him, I was kind of like, all right, cool. Zach's cool. McLaren's cool, whatever. And then he's just not been on the decline for me.
Although I think he rubs you like, I get it, but I'm like, don't have an issue. Like, I think he rubs you like Horner rubs me.
I can see that. Yeah. I think maybe it's different too, because Horner is like just doing everything he can to be great, and they've achieved that, right? So at least it's like at any cost, and they've made it there. So he's like, cool, my villainous ways have at least got me there. And so Zach's like, they've had some success, but they like, McLaren's not winning a title.
They're coming, but they're coming up.
No, for sure.
They're now this year. I mean, it's not like McLaren never was good, right? They won titles with Lewis there.
Yeah. But they haven't
been a while.
They haven't won anything since, I think. Maybe they when Kimi went there, or no?
No, because Kimi was ahead of Lewis, and Kimi went to Ferrari.
Got it.
And Ferrari.
I thought there was somebody after.
He won with Ferrari, but then Ferrari hasn't won since Kimi.
Yeah, I thought they won. I thought he won, or I thought they had a really big name since Lewis, but I can't remember who. Was it Fernando?
No, Alonso and Lewis were there
at the
same time.
Okay. Either way, I don't know. I think the only chance they really have.
Speaking of Alonso for a minute, because we haven't got to talk for a couple weeks.
Okay.
just the more the season goes on, I just think he is the most overrated driver of fucking history. I just do. He won 2 championships. I think he's dog shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Can we just end the show now?
I think he's so overrated, overhyped.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
That's my rant.
Okay. I'm trying to dissect that one. I can see like bits and pieces, but at the same time, like he's been able to make within parameters, right? Like, yeah, he's not like going out and winning races.
Yeah.
But any car he's been in, he's been a relatively points driving guy.
Yeah.
So
look,
that's what
I don't think he's a bad driver. I think he's a good driver.
Right,
I just think he's overrated. I don't think he's as good as everybody talks about him being.
He defends like a Leon though. But
he does.
Yeah.
But
I don't, yeah,
so does K-Mag, dude.
Well,
I think K-Mag's even. I like K-Mag.
Super legend.
Yeah,
Just take all the penalties, put me 1 point away, and call it a day. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I have no relationship or ties to Fernando in the sense of like, oh, I grew up watching Fernando. It's like obviously I know Fernando, the name and like the status coming up. But at the same time, how many guys out there have multi titles other than that are in the field right now? You know what I mean? That other than Lewis and Max, is he the only one else? The only other guy that has a title? That's in the field.
I think so
in the
right now.
Field. Yeah. So I mean,
yeah, and I mean, you know, to be his age and driving as well as he is also a feat. Like he's a good driver.
40?
It's like 42 or something like that.
And he's still got like 2 years, I think. You got a multi-year deal.
Yeah, he just signed another deal with Aston Martin.
How dare you talk shit about him when his birthday was like this week?
Sorry, bro.
No
special treatment.
Yeah, no special treatment. Back to work. Back to work, peasants. I don't know. Things could change for them though. It would be nice to see because I heard that Aston Martin's supposed to get the Honda engines eventually. Once Ford is done with, or sorry, not Ford. Once Red Bull is done with them. So that leaves obviously some speculation on where. Where Max could go.
Are they not going to supply them and Red Bull at the same time?
No, because Ford's supposed to take that over.
Ford's taking over Red Bull, right? That's right.
So Ford is on they're just doing trans right now, and then
technically right now it's Red Bull powertrains, but Honda's supplying it.
Yeah.
So they probably just hired the same people like to work at Red Bull, and
or they're private labeling it basically.
Exactly.
The Honda's building the motor, and then they slap a Red Bull's logo stamp or whatever on it.
Yeah, I mean they're still developing it. So I think, but
back to McLaren really quick. I think really the only unless they get the next gen car right out the gate. Really, the only time they're going to have to challenge for a title, I think, is going to be next year. Because, like, obviously, they start trending in the right direction unless they take another step backwards. Which it's really weird. I feel like in this generation car, everybody has taken a step backwards at one point or another, right? Like Mercedes came out the gate at the back.
Yeah.
McLaren came out the gate at the back, and they progressed forward.
Yeah. And
then Aston Martin was like pretty good, and then they kind of took a step back. Ferrari was pretty good, and they took a step back. Red Bull was dominant, and then now they've taken a step back and can't keep up with the times. So it's very
they came like really hot out the gate from both those first 2 seasons.
Yes.
Nobody could touch them.
Yeah.
I mean, Max had the most dominant championship win in history pretty much last year. Like insane. So but now all the upgrades are starting to come and Red Bull's starting to fall back. I mean, is it because Adrian Newey's taking kind of a back seat, this season? And also we don't really actually know where he's going to land yet.
Dude, he's talking about silly season. He is like the epitome of silly season right now. Because they were saying, oh, he's for sure going to Ferrari. He signed it. But then a week later, you hear he's visiting the Aston Martin facility at Silverstone. So there is no.
And he even was like speculated at McLaren at one point too, like early on.
I can't remember that one. But that's just definitely a wild time for Adrian Newey and any fans of him. I mean, I'm not necessarily a fan, but I don't dislike him either. I mean, obviously he's a genius when it comes to building a car.
Yeah.
But
I think it would be cool to see knowing a little bit more of his history now. I didn't know it before the season. I didn't really know that much about him at all.
Right, for sure.
And then because of all this stuff coming up, it's like we started to learn a little bit more about his history and all that stuff. And so
and obviously he's been making winning cars for a long period of time.
Long time, yeah.
It makes you wonder too, like if he wasn't there, would Red Bull have been as dominant?
Maybe not. I mean, you look at James Allison, right, with Mercedes, and he was not there for this Gen car.
Yeah.
He left to go do some other stuff. They couldn't figure it out. He came back. They're figuring it out.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think there are kind of just like there's those drivers that are just that much better.
Yeah.
I
next
think
level.
there's those engineers and everything that are just that much brighter,
Right.
and they have a knack for figuring those things out. Especially maybe they're taking the carcass of what he had originally, right?
Right.
With
He
some
just
of the
fine-tuning
things,
it
and
stuff like that.
and so then he can come and say, oh, actually, this is going to work better with this design. That's how
Yeah.
I made it.
That
You
out of the
know,
box thinking.
Yeah,
is all
yeah,
like, yeah, you guys
so-
are on track. You just fuck this up.
yeah, yeah. We just need to change all of.
Or he's just
all
like, no,
of
throw the
this.
whole thing away.
Yeah,
We're done here.
yeah. I
Start
mean,
over.
you know, whatever they did, it's really starting to work. They're coming on strong. It's for me as a Mercedes fan, it's fun to see.
Are you still gonna be a Mercedes fan after Lewis is gone?
I think so, but I'm gonna be a Ferrari fan.
A Lewis fan first.
I'm always a Lewis fan first. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, but I like Mercedes. I would root for them. I like Toto.
I think maybe I'd like them more if George wasn't there. I can
I saw some of George might not be there.
win next season or
Yeah,
26.
26. It was like Antonelli and Max.
Oh yeah,
Because all the speculation of Max coming.
Double check.
You know, with
I
all
know.
of the drama with Red Bull.
Right.
And,
Right.
all right, star of the show, everyone. Star of the show.
Swiffer.
Star
Yeah, I
of
mean,
the
obviously,
show.
there's a lot of, and I could see that happening
You're on TV,
because
bud.
at the time, like Max is like, yeah, I have the
So
fastest
cool.
car right now, but then now he doesn't have the fastest car. Like in theory, he doesn't have the fastest car, right?
They don't.
And so I wonder, you know, if Mercedes comes up with the fastest car, is he gonna jump ship? Or, you know, and I think or Aston Martin, or
Well, he also has a contract for. Well, I mean, he had one of
28.
the longest contracts in.
but there's always a
history.
way out.
Oh,
Like,
for sure, always,
yeah.
always.
I
yeah.
could see him, you know, somebody will buy that out if they want it. Like Mercedes,
Yeah,
obviously,
Mercedes, yeah.
they were about to throw 300 million at him. I think 300 million.
Were
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, they were about to throw 300 million at him, and he's like, "Nah, money doesn't. I don't care about the money. I want the
Yeah.
performance." So
Yeah,
I guess
maybe
at the same
now.
time, as much as a lot of people don't like Max, I mean, kudos to him that he's there for the right, not there for the right reasons, but he's like,
Well, he's there to win.
like
and
he's like he
not
could have went
just
for
chasing money.
yeah, he
or-
could have went for
yeah.
a mad money grab,
Yeah.
but he
I
decided,
mean,
no, I
dude,
don't
at
need a
what
mad
point
money.
is like you're making a fuck ton of money, you know? So
I think he was ranked in like the top, whatever that Forbes list is, like the millionaires
Yeah,
list.
yeah.
The highest, which is weird though. He wasn't in like the top 10 highest paid
No,
athletes, which was
no.
wild to me.
yeah.
There was like a couple there's soccer people, and then there was somebody else that was like, I was really surprised. I'm like, how are you in like the top?
Yeah.
Or like, how is he so low too? That's what I thought.
I do think okay, but you gotta
Let's go. Let's go.
figure it
Let's
out.
go. Break. Pause. Intermission. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Blood Lubricants.
Hey,
Oh, interruption. Go. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Blood Lubricants. If you need any oil or whatnot, name drop F1 America when in your comments section of your order, and they'll get you hooked up.
yeah, blood lubes.
And that was an impromptu commercial. That was pretty sweet.
Boom,
Never done
that's
that before.
perfect.
Never done that
We
before.
need to do that more.
Yeah, probably. I lost my train of thought. What were we talking? Oh, Max
Max,
jumping
yeah.
ship. Which I'm sure Max has probably studied. Obviously, he has respect for Lewis as much as everybody doesn't think he does. I feel like he has respect for Lewis as a
Yeah.
competitor and athlete, right? So I'm sure he's studied that his career, right? And he's like,
How
okay,
about-
when you start losing performance, like you need to jump ship. And I could see him pulling that line out of.
How about Max's attitude now that he's not just running away with every race? I feel like he's kind of old Max getting frustrated, kind of cussing people out, and you know, kind of driving like a maniac.
It doesn't bother me. It
I
honestly
just think
doesn't.
it's interesting.
It doesn't bother me. I mean, people are going to try to feed into that, I think. But the one thing I do appreciate, as much as nobody likes it, he's like, oh, what do you think about, you know, Liberty Media trying to tell you, or who are F1, FIA trying to tell you what to say on the mic? He's like, yeah, fuck them. I don't care.
Oh yeah,
Like, that's the best attitude. He's like, I'm still going to do it anyways. I'm still me. Don't tell me how to live my life.
and also
Like,
how about Liberty Media getting into potentially the Checo contract?
yeah, I just found that out. Was that today?
That was today that we saw. So obviously everything's speculation. We really don't know until the final, like until the race actually happens.
Right.
But the speculation is because I saw a couple of things and I was like, well, why would they do that?
Right.
Now it kind of clears up. At least we get a reason why. So they're basically trying to control Checo's contract because obviously he's underperforming severely.
Yeah.
Like
he went
has
from-
been. He's gotten the biggest shot to keep going of anybody
At Red Bull. For
of
sure.
Max's teammates
Yeah.
ever. And I think, Helmut Marko and Christian are at that point where he's done. They're ready to replace him. We just don't know with who yet.
Mhm.
And then Liberty Media hearsay is stepping in to say, well, you can't do it after summer break. You have to at least do it after the Mexican GP, or we're going to decline in sales in Mexico. Because Mexico's,
that's not
a
the
few
race
races
team's
after.
problem. Like at the end of the day, like Red Bull doesn't not give a shit.
Yeah, they want to win,
about-
right?
Yeah, they don't give a
Yeah.
shit about your sales. Like,
Right.
I mean, go back to COVID when nobody could be there. Like, who gives a shit? Like,
Yeah.
you just don't want to take a hit, and I think that's poor. Not judgment, poor management.
yeah, for
for
sure.
just like
But-
you're trying to enforce this, and like that's bullshit.
But we got to remember, like F1 and like the FIA and Liberty Media, they're kind of like the mafia. Like they run a little bit like the mafia, where
a
like
little sketchy, yeah.
like a little thing, a little sketch. People have to buy into all the shit.
Mhm.
Like they can sort of change the rules here and there. It's
Some people
like,
get a pass, some people
some
don't.
people get a pass, some don't. It's just kind of interesting.
Who was it? Was it Signs that had that comment in one of them? He's like, "Oh, I wish I could change my nationality."
No,
to
it was
English."
Alonso.
Oh yeah, to an English driver because I
Yeah.
want to get any penalties or something like that, or less penalties.
It was Alonso after Sainz got screwed, I think.
Yeah.
Because he had gotten screwed like 2 races prior, for
Yeah.
2 races, I think, in a row.
Yeah.
He kind of got screwed.
So I think that's great. That like
Yeah.
I love that they call that shit out.
Yeah,
Like,
look,
that's the
I
one thing
mean-
I do love about F1 is that they're very candid. They
Yeah.
don't perform. They're like, I suck. My equipment sucks. Whatever. Like they will
Yeah.
straight own it. Versus other sports, are like, well, yeah, we're gonna tinker with this. We're gonna tinker with
Mhm.
that. We're still searching. They're like, no, we're not searching for shit. Like our
we
car is
can't
not
figure the
good.
fucking car out.
Yeah.
Like it's not fun to drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or especially when the team principal says it, like Toto's like, we know it's a shit box, drive the fucking car.
Please, Lewis, just drive the car.
Like that is the greatest thing I've heard
I will say,
in the
like,
last like 2 years.
we've gotten more great Toto quotes in their devastating years than we ever did in their championship.
Oh, for sure.
years.
For sure.
Or even like Christian 2 Toto, right? Like, oh man. Drive to Survive, I think this season's gonna be
It's
wild.
gonna be on fire. But all you haters
Wild.
out there, you OG F1 fans, Drive to Survive Satan for the F1 community. Oh my god. I've seen
Dude,
so
it's
many
done-
comments
really?
on that lately, dude. So many
Look, guys,
OG
it's done
F1 fans
nothing
being
but
haters.
it's done nothing but build the sport.
Oh, for sure.
The drivers get paid more. Everybody, there's more money all around. Like, yes, the FIA's fucked. They take too much money. Yes, F1 and Liberty Media's fucked. They take too much money. All that shit. But at the end of the day, as a fan, and like, it's more accessible everywhere worldwide, I think, than it ever has been.
For sure. Is there a handful of people that are probably there for the wrong reasons? Like, oh, there's just
For
the
sure.
influencers there. For sure.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
people get invited there that shouldn't be there? For sure. That's like the negative
It's
impact
a
of
lot
it, right?
more of a spectacle.
Yeah.
A lot of times, certain races like Monaco, Vegas, Miami. I mean, a lot of the fucking US races.
I feel like all of them now, like
Yeah.
every race, like somebody popular is there.
Yeah, Silverstone even, which
Yeah.
is, I mean, why not? I think it's
Even,
great.
even Mexico, like there's
Yeah.
celebrities there.
All
that-
the celebrities go to the F1 races.
yeah, so
It's sort of like the Kentucky Derby almost.
Now it
right?
is,
Like,
yeah.
but every race is like that.
yeah.
Um,
But I feel
don't
like
know.
F1 is the epitome of racing now.
Absolutely.
Like
I think it always has been, but now
even more so.
people
It's like
see why.
elevated itself.
I think
like,
people see
we are
why.
number one in the world.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird to think that though, because you would think like it's not like maybe, and could also might be a catch-22, but it's like not everybody can go buy an F1 car. Like, versus like if say like a GT class, like you can technically buy like the base car of that or something.
Right,
like that,
right,
you know
right.
what I mean? Versus
Like a GT3 RS.
yeah,
or
or
something.
like you can go buy a go-kart or something like that, or
Mhm.
technically NASCAR. You can go buy the very minimal NASCAR form.
Yeah, I mean, even a lot of the American muscle cars are sort of close-ish.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like,
So it is, or like even if you go back like 20 years, NASCAR was based on the the manufacturing model, and like it was the OG Camaros and stuff like that.
yeah, Ford Taurus
Yeah,
even, which
yeah,
is weird to
yeah.
think the Taurus,
Or
but
Buick or whatever, you know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
so many different so that's what is strange. Not strange, it's interesting that how it's elevated itself so high, but maybe because it is so high because you can't get that car. It
Yeah.
costs X amount of money. et
So,
cetera.
I mean, is their main argument for why it's bad is like it's driving ticket sales and like real fans can't afford to go anymore? Or what are they like? Why do they say, do you know?
Nobody actually has a legit argument. They just
They just
say
wanna
like,
talk shit.
yeah, they want to talk shit. Like
Yeah.
every comment I see is like, oh, Drive to Survive fans are idiot, and like you're clear. And then if I make a comment, they're like, you're clearly only know F1 by Drive to Survive. I'm like, no, like don't get me wrong, it gave me a lot of background on it.
Yeah.
It got me into it, but like
Yeah.
I don't just solely sit around all season waiting for Drive to Survive to come on, and I get all my info and
Yeah.
content.
Dude, we
from
watch
Drive to Survive.
literally. Also, by the way, like specifically, I watch every fucking practice. I listen to everything they say.
Right.
I watch every fucking session, every race.
Right.
I
will
love
say,
it. So like,
as of
we get a
lately-
lot of fucking info. Like, we don't just get shit off of Drive to Survive.
Right.
We like Drive to
but
Survive.
we
for
follow
entertainment.
we follow other pages,
Other
other
pages too, yeah.
shows, other outlets.
Yes, a
And
lot of
we're
other
paying
ones.
attention. We follow the drivers, the teams, so we're getting
Yeah.
a lot of information thrown at us all the time. Which, granted, every one of you guys can go get that, yes, but we're
Yeah,
also
totally.
dissecting it, texting about it,
Yeah. Well, and
talking about
I mean,
it, like our fences.
You get
are
our
there.
point of view, right?
Yeah.
You get our lens on things.
Yeah.
Our filters. And I mean, that's why anybody has a platform, because you want to hear what their opinion is,
Correct.
you know?
I will
Yeah,
say
well-
lately I have been slacking on watching everything. Like some of those wee hour of the night ones, I've been like Spa. I think I did wake up because I was already awake and I was watching qualifying, and then I didn't wake up for the race. I think I did watch the race in 30 just because of my time frame and kind of.
Yeah.
So it depends on the week and the day. Like I'm not stopping my life for F1. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I mean, I'm very excited to go see it in a couple months. I'm very excited to watch it every time I can.
Yeah.
Any race, like if it's on in the middle of the day, like the US races, I normally make a point unless some other event is going on. But even if I'm at an event, I could be at a pool party, I could be at
A lot of times
a
it's
baby
on.
shower, and I will literally have it on my phone on my lap with the volume off, just
Yeah.
like paying attention, watching the subtitles,
Yeah.
seeing what's happening.
Same.
Well,
I
so it's
also
on in
have
the background.
F1 TV, so
Yeah,
I just come back whenever I'm done
yeah,
with
you
something
can
and watch it.
rewatch it.
Yeah. So
And I like lately, I've just been so freaking busy that it's like been hard to like.
yeah.
Okay, let me just sit down and watch 2 hours of racing. I'm like, okay, the race in 30 is gonna have to. be
Sometimes,
today.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I'm like, all right, let's go. Oh, there was an overtake. Okay, what was that? Oh, okay, somebody
Oh,
pitted. You know, it's
I
like,
happened to be. I turned on the race and Zach was. He's like, "Oh, did you see that?" I'm like, "I'm actually watching it right now." He's like, "Oh shit, never mind." I'm like, "Well," and then it was a pretty dry race. I think it was Red Bull Ring, and it was a pretty dry race up until like lap 60 or whatever when Max.
oh yeah,
and
when Max and
Lando
Lewis,
they got into it, yeah.
yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I think it's like lap 60 or 63
like
or something
60,
like that."
yeah.
And he's like, "I'm like, all right, cool." So I like that one. I was like, "Okay, this is pretty dry." Fast forward. I'm like, "Okay, we'll get there." Okay.
It got real exciting for the
Yeah.
last part of the race for sure.
Do you want to talk about
George Russell
No,
disqualification.
I guess we could talk about that. Or I was going to say, do you want to talk about driver announcements or do you want to talk about Red Bull team first?
Yeah.
Which one? I asked you a question.
Driver.
Driver announcements?
Yep.
I was pretty shocked about Carlos Sainz going to Williams. I don't know if that's the
Yes.
best move. I will
Yes.
say that's a pretty high. I mean, props to Williams because it's a pretty high caliber driver
I agree.
to get
It's
to
definitely-
a low end team.
It's definitely a huge step back. What I did hear was the benefit for him was that he got a longer contract. So instead of a 1 year at Mercedes, which was a potential deal, he went for like a 2 or 3 year at Williams. Because then he has enough time to get into everybody's 26th generation and kind of see what team he wants to go to.
Okay.
Is kind of what I'm.
If he doesn't totally shit the bed there. I mean, if he brings
Yeah.
Williams around, though, if him and Albon bring Williams around, because they're both very good at car
Yeah.
development, I think, and making the car work.
Yeah, I think they're going to
Um,
be a good team together because
yeah.
they're both really good team players and
Yeah.
like just nice guys, and they're both good and they've got experience. And I mean, Albon is driving the wheels off that Williams dude. He got like
He's been in points majority of the year.
Q3 like
Yeah.
a bunch of times. Like even topped the time chart, I think last week for Q1 or something like
Q1
that.
or Q2, he's like
Yeah.
in second or something, or maybe he went P1. I don't
Something
remember.
like
but
there
yeah,
might have
I
been a
was like,
little rain, but most of it was on merit. Like
Yeah.
he was doing well, you know, like some of his tire and you
Yeah.
know choice and stuff too. But yeah, man, like I think it's definitely an interesting choice. Williams used to be, you know,
I feel like after seeing the last couple weeks, right? Like I feel like seeing Mercedes kind of make that comeback. Like it's tempting to not
Yeah.
take that 1 year deal. I saw
Yeah.
Lando made a comment he should have went to Red Bull, which I'm sure Lando's kicking himself that he never went to Red Bull. Maybe not right this second,
Maybe
but
not, yeah.
at one point in time, I'm sure Lando's like, "Fuck, I should have went to Red Bull."
Yeah.
So I mean, to have that chance to drive for Red Bull or go back to Red Bull for Carlos' sake, right?
Yeah.
I think, but also I'm sure he probably had in the back of his mind who's going to be top dog at whatever team he's at. I
Is
think he
he
goes to
at-
Williams. He knows he's top dog.
Is he ahead of Charles right now in the championship?
I could look really quick because I had it pulled up.
I mean, for Charles
I
kind
know
of
they're
being their
close.
golden boy, Charles does not really outperform Sainz that much. Like he outqualifies him a lot. Like
no, Leclerc's third, Sainz is fifth. They're
okay,
only
not a ton of points, though, right?
177 versus 162.
Yeah, so like 15 points.
Yeah.
All right. No, I mean that's one race, you know.
Matt Lewis is 12 points behind him.
Lewis is picking it up, man. I mean, he got help last weekend with George getting DQ'd, but he
Right.
got a race win on merit the weekend before.
Right.
So wait, did he win? He then won two back to back, huh?
He might have, yeah.
Which I think has never happened. Well, it's never happened for somebody of his age to win a race after not winning races for like consecutive seasons.
No, just kidding. Piastri, it went.
Somebody else, and then him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Britain was Lewis, Hungary was Piastri.
That's right.
Belgium.
Oh yeah, that was right. Piastri's kind of
Technically.
asterisk.
Yeah.
Win. Not that again. We talked about it off camera. I think he definitely deserved to win. He was racing the hell out of the car, but I think McLaren themselves screwed him by undercutting him with Lando, and then.
Yeah, I mean they had to call out like, hey, hand over the position because it's like if he doesn't hand over the position, does he just sit behind Norris or do they wreck
He
each other?
wasn't. I mean, Norris was 6 seconds ahead.
Yeah,
he wasn't catching him.
Yeah, so
You know,
there's. I mean,
but-
somebody else said this too. Like that other page we follow, the Australian page, they were saying too. Like there's going to be an asterisk next to this one until he does it again. And yeah, I think that's totally a valid statement. I mean,
yeah. It wasn't his fault. It was the team, really. The team undercut him with Norris. I mean, the runner 1-2, there's a huge undercut on that track.
Mhm.
Even if they would have pitted him the lap after to cover, which maybe is what they did, Lando was 6 seconds ahead of him by the end of that. They made him.
Yeah.
The only caveat is that before they pitted Lando, there was a message that said, look, we're thinking about pitting. If we do, basically, you're going to have to give that position back.
I don't think you should have to give. I don't think you give the driver that option, and I think that's stupid for them to put Lando.
I think it's unfair.
Playing devil's advocate, I think Lando's stupid for saying yes to it. As much as I love Lando, like he shouldn't have said, he shouldn't have agreed to it. You're like, well, if I pit now and I'm in the lead, I'm not fucking handing it back.
Did you listen to the radio?
I know.
So
I didn't listen to all of it. I know there's some he was pretty fired up about.
He didn't for quite a while.
Yeah.
And basically, without saying too much, the engineer was like, "You don't want to do this."
Yeah, I did. I remember seeing that clip.
Yeah, like you want to we need to be a team. You're gonna need him other weekends.
And I made a comment on a
don't
post.
screw this. You know,
I made a comment on another post that said, "This is why Max is the champion, and Lando is gonna be bridesmaid forever."
Max would have been.
He would have been like,
I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
Just like I'm not gonna give Checo 6th place to get
not-
third in the championship.
At the end of the day, it's not his job to babysit.
No,
Checo.
I mean, really,
It's not my job. If we're on a team, it's not my job. Like, can I be a nice guy and help you out? For sure. But I mean, I don't know if Max gets paid on bonuses and whenever he finishes, right? Like,
of course he does. Yeah.
so it's like, okay, he's top 5 or whatever 6th,
So
and says,
I
"Hey, I'm
think-
staying here because I'm gonna miss out on $20,000 in pay." If I
think
hand him a
it's-
position, is he gonna take me out to fucking Ruth Chris tonight? Probably not. So
I think it's the team's fault. I think the team fucked them both to even put him in that position.
yeah,
I think they should have fucking pitted him. Boom, boom, a double stack.
yeah. I think that same weekend,
know?
actually, Mercedes did it right behind him.
And double stack.
They double stacked, and like it was pretty. They're like, "Oh, it's gonna have to be tidy," and literally, like by the time, literally, Lewis pulled away, and as soon as he left the box and got back in the lane, George was
and
pulling in.
didn't have to slow down any extra.
Yeah, and I was like,
I will say,
that's a bad luck.
like,
They just did it. They should have done that.
Red Bull is really consistent at just nailing the fastest.
Mhm.
Mercedes is really good at double stacking.
That's true. That's true.
Like
I've seen Red Bull
over
do
the
some
years.
wicked double stacks too.
Red Bull's good too. I mean,
Yeah.
Red Bull, like their pit crew is like
You don't
awesome, dude. They're all
you don't
all
see
athletes.
too many fuck ups.
How about who fucking hit the Jack guy?
Oh, it's Piastri.
I thought it was
Dude, he almost yeeted him into the next
Fucking
pit box.
Holy shit! Everybody's laughing. The guy's like stretching his neck, like on
He
camera,
probably
like
just
off.
shit his
you know,
pants.
like
What he did.
dude, man, those things are fucking coming in hot.
It didn't really at all the time.
It wasn't as bad as
doesn't-
I've seen, but
Well, yeah, well, you don't think it's coming in that hot because it's normally pretty fluent and everything's pretty smooth.
Uh-huh.
And then when you hit them like that, you're like, oh shit, like
think-
they're moving a little faster than
he,
you realize.
he didn't even fall down though. I don't
No,
think.
he
He
wasn't
like
even-
raised
he
the car
literally-
and everything.
Skipped backwards and it like moved him forward like 2
Yeah.
feet and then he jacked it.
Dude, he like got the
Like he
job
almost like
done.
covered with it.
I think it was Ocon that came in. They showed like a clip of like a couple seasons ago, and I think Ocon came in and like fucking yeeted him, and the second Jack guy had to come in because that guy flew into the next
probably broke
pit
his
box.
front wing too. The probably. What about? I forgot. Ocon's got.
I
it,
can't
too.
believe he's got a fucking contract.
Yeah, I can't believe he went. I can't believe Haas signed him. I lost a lot of respect. I didn't.
Haas,
I
dude.
can't. I lost a lot of respect for Haas at that point.
Haas has been doing great this year too. Like
Yeah.
they're definitely stepping. They're above
What
Alpine,
What-
right?
What about the shade K-Mag threw at him? Did you see that interview? Where he's like,
not part of it.
yeah, this is the first time we've actually brought upgrades to a car and it actually
It actually
improved.
worked.
Holy shit. And he's like, well, fuck it, I got nothing to lose at this point.
Yeah, he's
like, I have no
done,
ride,
right?
so you might as
So
well. Like,
he's.
talk
I think
some
he's
shit.
going to Indy, right? Wasn't there talk of that? Didn't he say something about that?
No, Logan's supposed to go to Indy.
Logan's going to Indy.
Which obviously bummer. Logan and his F1 career was not short-lived. Obviously, 2 full seasons, but
yeah,
not
just
nothing.
It was
came-
kind of lackluster.
Yeah, I
Just
mean, I
wasn't-
wonder if he was in a different car, if it would have been better, or
I don't know. I
Yeah.
think the Williams is not bad. I think
Yeah.
it's better probably in the Williams, honestly, than like AlphaTauri. Maybe
No.
AlphaTauri is okay, but
oh yeah.
who-
I was getting mixed up with. I mean, actually, thinking about like caliber drivers when I said like Sainz going to Williams is a really
Alfa
good move.
Romeo is
Yeah.
kind of what I was thinking. Yeah,
Yeah, so like Sainz going to Williams, it's like a really good caliber, but I mean at the time Valtteri was a really good number 2 driver, like one of the best, I think probably the best ranked partner like team pairing
yeah.
in a long time, if not ever.
Ever probably.
And so I thought, okay, maybe he'll develop that car at stake, and that car's just been an absolute piece. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. what
That's
to tell you.
interesting that you said that because I just saw something that basically was saying like it was like all of Checo's stats, kind of.
Like comparing to Valtteri.
Oh yeah, did I send that to you?
Yeah.
And kind of saying like, look, like holy cow, Valtteri was underrated. Look at
For
how
sure.
well he did compared to Checo. But you know what? Like Checo was I think maybe part of the difference is the driving styles, right? We've heard this a ton of times where like Alex Albon talked about this specifically,
Yeah.
how Max has a specific driving style where he likes a knife edge on the front.
Yeah.
And which basically means you slightly turn and that thing's fucking cranked.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult to drive if that's not your thing.
Yeah. What he
And
said, it's like
Red Bull
playing.
develops the car for Max,
Yeah.
which means at the beginning of the season, it's okay.
Even, yeah.
Right. That's why Checo was winning some races too last year.
Hmm.
And then coming into as the season goes on, the front end gets sharper and sharper and sharper and sharper, and Max can handle it. And because with it that sharp, if you can handle it, you can extract a lot of extra time, which Max does.
Right.
But most other drivers can't handle it like Max can,
Right.
and they can extract that. So we've talked about this before. Why don't they develop one specifically for Max
For sure.
and one specifically for the other driver?
Does-
Why?
Have you heard of any other teams doing that?
I think they all kind of
Cater to their number 1.
yeah, but I think most teams kind of co-develop.
Right.
I don't think they just mostly follow
Yeah,
one
because if you're
driver.
not like you're developing the driver, you're trying to get the most out of the car, most for points,
Like-
etc. Right? Like, so
yeah.
why would you run the risk? You know, like I wonder if like Valtteri and Lewis were they just very similar drivers, so it worked really well, or because I remember there's a time that Checo was asking for, he's like, I want the Barcelona car or whatever
Yeah.
race car it was, and they're like, no, sorry, we can't give it to you. That's where I think definitely Red Bull's wrong in the sense of like you're just
Yeah.
fucking yourself, like you're literally,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, they're
not
trying to
helping.
find a needle in a haystack to fit a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're not gonna find the next Max. You gotta find somebody who's the next whoever they are.
Right.
that's going to be comparable to Max. Like, I mean, fuck it. Let's say Lewis, right? Who I would consider the best driver ever.
Mhm.
You give him Max's car, he might not be able to fucking drive it like Max can.
True.
You know what I
that'd be
mean?
great to
And,
see, like,
and
they
then
had
what
a-
are you going to say? Like, oh, Lewis is a dog shit driver?
What if they had like it'd be kind of cool, if they did like an all-star race.
You'd like
which
to say that.
what I mean, no, I mean I
But-
do
But it's
think
kind of an interesting thing to
yeah,
think
I would
about,
love to
right?
see like I think they should do it if like Max wraps it up early, throw him in the AlphaTauri and see what he does. If he's finishing top 10 or top 8,
Yeah. Daniel's been driving it good.
yeah, that show is weird because all these at the same
Everybody's
time
dogging on him.
everybody's dogging on him. Oh, Yuki's so much better, but Yuki hasn't been able to perform to save his life for the last 4 races.
Yeah.
The
The only thing I'll say is it's interesting that they never gave Yuki a chance.
what in a Red
You
Bull?
know, yeah. Like they threw Pierre in, they threw Albon in, and those were like real quick.
Yeah.
Both of them had like half a season maybe. And then, I mean, Yuki's been in the Alpha for a long time. I agree with you. I don't think maybe he's even that caliber.
Yeah.
But
I think he would struggle.
You
They
know?
probably don't want him to go damage a bunch of shit. I don't know. That's total speculation.
well, he doesn't crash the Alpha a lot.
He just crashed like in qualifying, like
But
his last race.
but he doesn't a lot, right? I don't think.
Oh, I think he has 2 crashes this year.
Does he?
I think.
Daniel's crashed, I think, too, though.
Yeah. No, they both have. And I know
Fucking
everybody.
Checo.
Yeah.
Checo's crashed the fucking Red Bull how many times?
Yeah, he's crashed a lot this year.
Dude,
Um,
he's been out. Like, I think Logan Sargent
has alcohol.
has alcohol out of him 7 races.
Yeah. Which is rough.
Get
If you're
the fuck
Checo.
out of here, dude.
At this point,
I'm a
I
Checo
could
fan.
I could have those.
Dude,
Those
I can
like,
fucking crash that often. Give me the
we should
contract.
probably edit that out. Crash that often.
Dude, like, but it's like,
yeah. I don't. Okay. So I did hear
and
another.
look, I'm a Checo fan. I like Checo.
Yeah.
I just think that car is not good for him.
And
Or
not
maybe the
anymore. Not,
environment's not good
not
for him.
anymore. Yeah. I think at one point it was
Maybe the
fine.
environment's not good.
And
for
then
him.
maybe he was kind of like, I have to prove myself, and he was able to do it. And then now, a couple years goes by and he can't figure it out. I do think. What they signed Yuki for 2 years or 1 year? 2 years. So I think to the new car basically.
Not sure.
Or was it 1 year? I can't remember. I know they extended Yuki's contract,
Yeah.
which I kind of didn't understand that. But I think Yuki will probably end up at Aston because Honda will be there. In a couple years.
That is kind of the speculation that's the only reason he's there.
Correct.
I don't think he's a bad driver.
And the Aussies had a good take on this as well, that basically they have to give Liam a seat by September, is I guess per the contract, or he's free to go get an F1 ride anywhere else. So what they're saying is
Dude, I want to see him because he's good, man.
Checo has been they were saying that they don't think he's ready for the Red Bull car, which I would agree with that.
You don't think Liam is?
No.
I disagree.
Because going back to what you're saying though about how the car development and everything, that car
Okay.
is so developed
Okay.
for Max.
Okay, yes.
It might be
that case,
culture
sure.
shock. It might be culture shock. Right?
And if he goes essentially in Max's car
Sucks
and
ass.
can't perform,
And he goes backwards, and everybody remembers he was a great driver last year in the AlphaTauri.
yeah,
If he goes in the Red Bull car, it's going to crush his spirit. That's kind of what they were getting at.
yeah.
So in theory,
it's
what you do,
possible.
pull Checo, move up Daniel, let him finish his saga at Red
Yeah,
Bull,
yeah.
and then who knows, maybe he squeezes a lot out of the car. I don't know what it meant by this. Liam had the driving test, and it was underwhelming, which I would mean that was not he was not
means he
great.
didn't perform as well as they wanted to.
So that was in the Red Bull, right?
Yeah.
So let him go to the feeder team, get more
Yeah,
get
put
more
him in
laps.
Put him in the AlphaTauri for a season.
Yeah, get more laps. Put Daniel over in the Red Bull for the rest of the season, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, look, Daniel also has experience in that Red Bull seat,
Yes.
not that car, but I mean, in
Yeah.
the spotlight.
Yeah,
He can handle that pressure in the sense of he's been there before.
Also, we know that Helmut Marko, what's his name?
Christian Horner.
Christian, yeah. Jesus, that was rough. Felt like an old
Usually
man.
we forget helmet.
Yeah. So we have those two that are like, oh no, we support Checo, we support Checo, we support Checo. But we know Red Bull can pull the rug really quickly. So, and then there's that video of the team manager, principal for AlphaTauri, Christian and Daniel all talking. Daniel looks a little fired up. It might be speculation. I don't know. But that's a good sign for Daniel to be moving up. And now with this new development of Checo, we need to fire Checo. but they're too scared about their money at the Mexican GP, they might.
When is the Mexican GP? Like, how much after? It's usually towards the end, isn't it?
It's normally, I thought it was. Let's see here.
It's like before Brazil.
April.
I think it's like Austin, Mexico,
upcoming, yeah.
Brazil.
So
I
we
think
go
it's like November.
Netherlands, Italy. God, we get it well. So it's
We got 12 more.
yeah, it's end of October.
End of October. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, that's what I was thinking. Almost November.
So it goes
Because when does racing start again? In a month, right?
yeah, August 23rd.
End of August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes Netherlands, Italy, Baku, Singapore, Copa. Not
Copa.
Copa, I was thinking soccer. And then Mexico.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Austin, Mexico, Brazil, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think we got a month to find out. I mean, you could see it.
A lot can happen in the silly season of the month of no
Yeah.
races too.
No
like,
races. There's still a lot of
everything
seats
could
to
happen
fill.
before. Yeah.
I don't know. I think
So the 2026 car is speculated to be 10 seconds a lap slower than this generation car this year.
no.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. I mean, naturally you want to be faster.
Yes. And every year they progressively have gotten faster, right?
Yeah.
Although I could be wrong. So Lewis's year, that final year that they 21?
Mm-hmm.
That I think was the last year that they were like rocket ships.
Right.
And I think this new generation car isn't quite as fast.
So they're trying to like back it off. So maybe is it?
I
I don't know if it's to make the
I
racing
don't know.
better.
Am I
or
right
it's
in
like-
saying that? Or are they breaking like because I don't think they're breaking any track records and stuff this year.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I haven't seen any
Because they used to, it was like Lewis was breaking all these records,
Yeah.
like you know.
and in Max too. Like you'd have,
And
he's like,
Max-
oh, this was the fastest qualifying team that we've seen at this track or whatever like that.
Yeah, and I don't know that we have that
Yeah.
right now.
And so it might be the same or a couple tenths off.
I don't think it's
know.
far off
Yeah.
though. It's not 10 seconds a lap
But 10
off.
seconds, yeah. So does that go from you're doing 203 on the straights, now you're doing 195? Like
Something.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
potentially, right? Like I don't know. Well, think about it. Like right now, a lot of the top cars are like in qualifying, they're like a second, right? Around like in some of the races, the races are really tight. I think the racing has been the best we've seen.
in
because
the most recent generation.
All
cars.
yeah, all of the top, like let's say 5 are like within
Now pretty
10
clo-
seconds
now pretty
almost.
close versus
So like a penalty really can screw you this
Yeah,
year. So I think that's interesting for sure. And we've had 7 different driver wins, which
Mhm.
is cool. It's unheard of. It's never happened that many in one season, which is cool to see. Like it goes to show like the changes that they're making are working,
right.
you know, to solve, you know, the distance between first and last.
Well, yeah, I wonder if they're doing the 10 seconds slower in theory so that. Well, it's weird. Do they have a demo car, like a prototype car out there, and they've done a couple laps?
That's
like,
what
how
I'm
do they
guessing.
develop
I
that
don't-
number? You know,
I don't know.
Is that
it
speculation
Aero?
number?
Yeah, is it Aero because of all the testing?
The
I don't
dragger?
know. Yeah, if you look at the car, it's quite a bit shorter.
Yeah, which I think would be good.
Is it that much like narrow?
I don't remember the side by side.
I think because it's shorter, it looks fatter, but it's not actually wider.
I think. Well, are they in theory making them 10 seconds slower though to bunch the field up even more, right?
Maybe.
But I think they're trying
obviously
to make
that's
the racing better
gonna
at the end of the day.
that's gonna change as the cars get developed more and more.
Yeah.
But 10 seconds a lap is a huge. You gotta think these guys are like tenths of a second
Yeah.
away. So 10 seconds is like
Yeah, are you gonna go from a 154 second
Crazy.
lap time to a 2,
yeah, you take like
3,
whoever qualifies first and whoever
like a
qualifies
2-minute,
last,
a 2:05,
like
2:01.
maybe there's probably not even 2 seconds between those guys.
Yeah. No, I mean,
like
and like half
1,
the time they missed
2.
out on.
That's
they'll miss out on
insane.
quali by a couple tenths or hundreds. Even.
Dude.
Like Daniel's missed or Albon's
Okay.
missed or somebody's missed by a couple hundreds because the last guy came across the line and bumped somebody.
Right, like okay, Max fucking wins crazy amount. 1, 2. That's the guy that got last fucking place in qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much faster. Like that's nothing. So
Right.
10 seconds is huge.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of my time in like messing around with like RC cars and stuff like that, like it's not about being necessarily the fastest when you're getting into it. It's about being consistent, right? So then it's like, but then what makes those guys extra fast in anything is that Max can, yeah, everybody can rip a 155, but Max can rip a 155 for
Yeah.
65 laps.
Right. Same with Lewis. Like,
Yeah, those
he can hit
elite, those elite guys,
paces.
right?
Yeah,
they can
exactly.
hit 155 for
Or 70 laps.
90% of it.
Almost. Yeah,
Yeah,
almost
they can-
all of them.
for like a consistency rating of 90 to
Right.
95%.
Exactly.
But then you got the Logans, like, yeah, Logan can rip a fast lap of 155.
Yeah, like he
but
can
then
do-
he's only doing that 50% of the time.
Right.
And so he's
Right.
bouncing all over the place. And that's the problem I've seen with like other like RC car guys. Like they'll be fast as fuck. They can rip a 1 lap.
Yeah.
But then you can't consistently do it. And so
Well,
it's like,
because to be in that mentality for that long is
Yeah.
difficult.
yeah,
Like it's exhausting for the drivers, you know.
right.
Even our RC, let's say, it's still a high level of focus
Oh, for
to
sure.
be able to put that perfect lap in, and then to do that really consistently.
And you're not
Like,
sitting in the car. You're
like
like,
nothing.
okay, I got to make sure I'm like this far off the pipe. This is the corner. This is
All
all
this
the
stuff.
arch, all that, and you have to do that every lap. So like 1 lap, a hole can grab you, and it upsets your car.
Well, and you know what's interesting too, and same's gonna go for Formula One and all the drivers is like the tires are wearing different.
For sure.
So your performance is gonna be a little different, you know, like where your braking point's changing throughout the race. And then when you get new tires put on, your braking point changes again.
Right,
And then it fades again.
The
you
tire
know?
or the car's getting lighter. so
Yeah,
you're technically
yeah,
getting faster,
exactly.
So then technically you need a brake sooner.
And then if
or
there's a
whatever.
shift in wind,
Yeah,
we
That's
see
what I-
that.
that's what I
the
think
huge
is-
thing that throws people off.
IndyCar they
off the
talk about
course.
that too. Is like there's a big push and wind, and like they'll get a tailwind, and it spins them or dive bombs
Yeah.
them deep into the corner or whatever.
Yeah, all of a sudden their braking point should be 20 meters sooner.
Yeah.
And they missed it because without that gust, they were 20 meters later. You know,
I have a hot take.
I like
Well,
hot
not
takes.
not necessarily hot take, but I think I am gonna start paying a little bit more attention to IndyCar.
Okay.
I think it's the new. Well, it's not the new. It's been around, obviously. It's on the up and up, but the cost comparison and accessibility,
Oh, for us to go to races, and
yeah,
stuff like that.
is like way better.
well
for
and
Americans.
it's all just in America, right?
Yeah, yes.
Like
So it's not
So,
worldwide, dude.
it's
like
more accessible for us to be able
you
to
can
go
get
to
pit
races
passes
all over.
for like the same price as a GA pass at F1.
Yeah.
And actually watching that too, which I think is pretty crazy. Like obviously IndyCar, the Indianapolis 500 is like the epitome, which I think is kind of crazy. It's like that is the race that everybody wants to win.
Yeah.
And they say second to that, like the Monaco of IndyCar is the Long Beach Grand Prix, which
Which would be cool. It's
which-
close to us.
Yeah, it's super close to us, and like that's supposed to be really good. I might try to go to St. Pete next year. That's the opener. Since we have
Is that in Florida?
yeah. So
Okay, cool.
we have family that are 25
Yeah.
minutes from there. So
Yeah, that'd be cool.
and dude, there's so much.
So we might be morphing
drama.
into a racing channel.
Yeah, just
not
racing in general. I'll start talking about rallycross. Like, what do you want to talk about?
Dude, a rally driver. I was like, those
Rally's
rally
gnarly.
drivers are fucking.
Super gnarly.
They're a different breed.
Oh yeah, they're like
Like,
you wonder like
F1
how would they
is
drive
good.
compared to like you throw an F1 guy in a rally car and like would they
What?
do the same? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
obviously you
I
have
think-
instinct and you can drive or like even like go to Formula Drift too. I don't even follow that much, but like those guys are gnarly.
dude, some of those, like one of those kids, like 13 in
Yeah.
Formula Drifting, is like insane.
Yeah, and they're wheeling everywhere. I saw that one
Uh,
video of that dude. It's just at like a public track or whatever, and the dude throws that. It's a Camaro or a Corvette.
I think it was a Corvette.
and he throws it in like down the street by our mailboxes to set up for the corner. He's like, he set up for the corner a mile out of the corner.
Dude, he's in reverse.
yeah,
He's not going reverse.
Yeah.
He's in a fucking spin.
yeah, and he's
He's
sliding
slide.
it,
He's
backing
gonna
it into
slide
the corner,
Back
brings it
and
around.
he starts to go. Let's say the corner's here. He starts to go forward here as he's still going back,
To like
spinning the
slow you
tires,
down into
and
the
then
corner.
gets there and hits fucking. He's already in gear going forward.
It's
Oh my god, it
so
was
gnarly.
nasty.
like
dude.
amount of talent involved in that. for
It's
sure.
just not my thing. I think
No,
it's cool,
I'm
but
actually
I
surprised
wouldn't
you're
want to
not-
sit.
I
in.
thought you were more into it, but
I
like, I'd
think,
probably like
I
if there
think
was
it's
one
really
here, I'd
cool.
go check it out. But
Yeah, I think it's cool, but I don't consider it like
Well,
racing. I don't know.
It's weird. I mean, they're trying to make it. It's more like time
I don't
trials.
really know. Yeah, I don't really
But like
know.
Long Beach, like after qualifying and stuff like that, they do that. They do the speed super trucks there, so like they do shit in between. So
I like trophy trucks.
there's like 3 different races going on at Long Beach Grand Prix.
Yeah. Is that one where they have the trophy trucks, but they have like the offsetting jumps, and sometimes they're like off kilter when they're going?
Yeah,
It's a straight circuit that they do that.
Yeah, so they basically do it at a bunch of different races, and it's like a metal
Yeah.
ramp, and they're like launching 70 feet at a time.
Dude,
They're
and
wide
sometimes
open,
they're
like,
fucking
they get
cattywampus
yeah,
and-
they get all crazy.
Dude, that's
But
cool.
Robbie Gordon's the one that started that, and it's super gnarly.
That's sick.
Yeah, so and his kid races it, and he's an animal, and I mean a lot of people don't like Robbie that much, but I think Robbie's just an absolute legend. He's raced IndyCar,
Yeah.
he's an off-road legend.
Honestly,
he knows
I'd
how to
just
build
be
a
happy
car, like-
racing anything and getting
Oh, yeah.
paid for it. I don't give. I'll fucking race a shoebox.
We still need to do we still need to do go-karting.
We need to.
We need to do like a go-kart
And like
challenge
film
or
it
something.
and put it on the channel.
Yeah. I guess we kind of talked about it. I just saw it as we were starting this though. Stella at McLaren re-signed a contract extension or whatever, which I think that's like
Andrea
I think
Stella, the
yeah, I think that's
principal?
like slow day in the news and like you excited to
Yeah, I was like,
who gives a
we
shit?
don't even
But-
really hear contracts for principals.
Yeah, so that's I thought that was
That's
weird
weird.
that
That
was
is
on there.
weird.
I don't really like him to be honest with
It's
you.
probably because Zach Brown's still running the show, and so
Yeah.
yeah.
Obviously, there's been some success since he stepped in, but it's like, where did that start? Did that start because of Stella, or did that start because Zach Brown put it in motion? He's like, hey, I'm going to focus on our IndyCar teams and this team.
No,
Like,
because Zach Brown was in control of it for a while, and they were running in the ground.
true.
So I
Yeah,
think
those-
he's definitely taken a step. Whatever they've done, it's working.
Oh, and then the Red Bull team member going to Audi as a team principal. Did you see that?
No,
I don't know his name. They put out a statement.
I didn't see that at all.
Yeah, Red Bull put out a statement that
Was he an engineer or something? Like, who is he?
shit, let me see. Red Bull Racing. Bear with us, pause. Director Jonathan Whitley. What is he? If he's gonna be
Congratulations.
he's gonna be the team principal. What?
Congratulations to
He'll
John.
remain. Jonathan's gonna remain in his position until the end of the 24 season, so they could defend the world titles and whatnot. The Red Bull world title, of course, and then
Yeah.
obviously at the end of the year they're gonna. I wonder if they're gonna pull the reins back on him though too, like they kind of did with Adrian. I don't know.
Yeah. Start limiting his access.
But like, yeah, I mean, obviously he was somewhat important. Red Bull put out a statement about
Oh.
him, and even Christian made a comment like, "It's been a long and successful relationship with Jonathan over 18 years. Contribution to 6 world titles, 7 world driver championships. First as a team manager, laterally sporting director. Yeah, so
Yeah.
he was a guy. I don't know necessarily
He's a guy, Jonathan.
how important he was, but I never heard the name. But I just thought that was interesting. A Red Bull guy going Audi. The one thing I will say that threw me for a loop though is if Sainz signed a multi-year deal with Williams, I'm sure he has to have a clause that he can get out,
I think so.
but that kind of dashes the plan of going to Audi, or the theory of him going to Audi because Dad's involved with Audi and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that car is
I think it gives him a chance to let Audi figure things out for a season or two.
kind of what
And
they were
then he's gonna jump in there.
kind of like that theory that everybody's saying that Max should do. Like he should race till 26, take a year off, see who's got the best car, then come back in.
Yeah, something
Um,
like that.
yeah, I don't know. It's an odd. It's just a weird time, I guess. Obviously, still a lot of seats open. Alpine doesn't know. I heard their support driver Jack Doohan or whatever. He's close to signing a deal,
Okay.
so he's been sitting in that seat for a long time. And Alpine,
Yeah, a long
being
time.
a support guy. He's
Same
been
with
doing.
Aston Martin's reserve guy. I know.
I know
that
who you're talking about.
because they have him on F1 TV a lot to come in and talk. Yeah.
He's the one that races IndyCar, no? Fittipaldi?
Fittipaldi, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Fittipaldi's Haas, I think, because he's a Ferrari guy.
He races IndyCar though.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them
So-
does. I'm pretty sure Fittipaldi races IndyCar.
Well, he's got a couple brothers too.
Oh, does he? Okay, then maybe I'm getting a little confused then, because I was gonna say how could he be both? Yeah, that was kind of really only Alpine. Obviously, we touched on it. Alpine team manager, never heard
Do
of
you
the
think
guy.
Mick Schumacher will ever get to drive again?
I heard there was like rumblings like he could come back at Mercedes somehow in a
Yeah,
way.
I mean,
or
he's
he was supposed to do a
Mercedes
test.
reserve driver right
Yeah.
now. I'd
Uh,
love to see the name back in, you know,
I think Mercedes is holding out on that Lewis spot for the
for
possibility
Lewis to stay.
of Mac.
What if Lewis decides to stay because Ferrari's going to shit?
That would be hilarious. That'd be
Oh.
like some McLaren shit. No, but I saw a comment that Kimmy's like, I don't know if I'm ready, yada yada. So then that might open the door for Mick, but also might open the or they might leave the door open for Max. I don't know. It's kind of like a shit
We'll
show.
let you know when we know.
Definitely shit show. Zach actually replied to me when I shared that Sainz is going to Williams, and he's like, no. I don't know. Man, I hope he does good. It'd be great to see them.
Yeah.
It'd be great to see, we hear about how great Williams was. Obviously, I wasn't paying attention back that day.
Yeah.
And it's like we know them as the steak AlphaTauri.
Yeah,
like
I mean, we know them as the kind
back
of
end of the
Mercedes
field.
feeder team now.
Well, the feeder
right?
team, but also it's like I don't even know if half these guys can call it a feeder team because it's like what do you need to do at the feeder team to make it? I'm genuinely curious because there's
make
been
it into that next.
yeah,
one.
because like George realistically at Williams didn't have any crazy results to get that Mercedes drive.
Didn't he
Right?
have a win?
It was by default.
I know.
Anyways,
I know,
yeah. But no, was it a win or was it a second? I think it was a second.
I don't remember.
But yeah, technically
Maybe
by
it was
default,
a Q1, like a P1 or something in qualifying.
well, no, it's Spa because he was the only one that got a dry lap. The rest of the track rained out, so nobody can even put down a time.
Yeah.
And so then they started the race, and he was either P1 or P2, and they ended under red.
And it was only
and
like a quarter or a third of the race or something.
Yeah, it was like a
Quarter
lap. They did
race.
like 2 laps in the rain, and everybody's like, "No, this is too wet. There's no way we can race." And then they're like, "Oh, well, by default, by qualifying, this is where you got." So I'm just curious, like genuinely curious, like realistically, if Toto wasn't, what's his face's manager or mentor, whatever.
Yeah, James Vaughn.
No, Toto was George's manager.
Oh,
or
God.
whatever.
Oh, right.
So like, would he have gotten that Mercedes ride? Like Charles, I don't remember Charles doing much at Haas to get a Ferrari ride.
Yeah.
Because from all I can remember, Haas has
Well,
always been a shitbox, and they haven't never really got good results.
I think because they've been in their academy lineup, right?
Right.
So like George was a Mercedes Academy driver.
Mm-hmm.
Charles was a Ferrari Academy driver.
Right.
And that's kind of like they knew they were going to go to that seat. They just wanted to give them a season or two to get up to speed to the next
Season
level
or two
of car.
George had like 3 seasons in that Williams car, if not more.
Well,
And he
probably
did not do good.
Valtteri's probably still a better driver than him.
Oh, for sure. Like
So
I bet my bank account on that right now. If you put them in equal equipment, Valtteri would shit on George, I think, all day long. So then it makes me wonder, like, do they send? Oh no, they can't send Kimmy to because both seats are filled for Williams.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say, well, they send Kimmy to Williams and then they have an open seat, but just kidding, you can't do that. Yeah, no, it's just kind of weird. Like some people like technically AlphaTauri is a feeder team. So, but even playing devil's advocate on my own statement, as much as I don't like Yuki never got a shot at Red Bull.
That's what I was saying
So
tonight. Yeah,
and Yuki was a Red Bull driver coming up. So yeah,
and he's been there quite a few seasons.
He's been there quite a few seasons, and he was an amateur kid. So what do you? Obviously, he's not doing what he has to do. So what do you have to do to get to?
I don't know. That is the question.
Primary team.
That is the question.
Does Yuki's manager just suck? Like, you know what I mean? Or
yeah, I don't know.
And then I wonder actually, how much does the manager play a role? Right? Like you see in Drive to Survive, like Carlos is very much with his manager. And I feel like, and everybody's a little bit different. Like Daniel, I feel like kind of handles his own deal.
Yeah. I think that's kind of it, right?
And it's like his training partner
style.
Yeah. So
right. I think some people want to take control. Like I think Lewis pretty much does all of his own deals.
I'm sure.
I've never even heard of him having a manager. I'm sure. I know his dad was his manager forever.
Right.
So and then he fired him. So I think it's kind of driver preference, right? I know Mark Webber is a lot of the drivers' managers.
Isn't he Piastri's manager, I'm pretty sure?
I think so.
Yeah.
And because he's a Red Bull guy, I think he's somebody else's manager too.
Which there's obviously speculation that Piastri could always end up at Red Bull because he was a Red Bull guy. So.
Right. Yeah. So,
that would be pretty interesting to see. But I also heard he extended his contract for God knows how long.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, McLaren's driving well right now. I'm curious to see how the end of the second half of the season shakes up. If Red Bull continues to decline even just slightly,
I mean, I just looked at the points, and Max is still
he's still really far ahead.
277 versus Norris is 199.
Yeah,
so
I
he's
mean-
almost got a 100-point lead.
Yeah, like over 80 points or something.
Yeah.
So I mean, the statistic in the past has been that nobody's ever come back from that much of a deficit to win.
Mhm.
But we have more races now than ever.
True.
So
Correct.
there's a lot more opportunity. We're only halfway through the season. If Max does,
Max is already taking
You know,
it again.
yeah,
I don't know. How
So
many-
that's the
I don't
thing.
know
is
how
like,
many he's on because he took a penalty. So is he already through all of
Yes.
his engines? So is he?
yes,
So then
a lot of them are Alpines. I think are too.
Yeah.
Like, so that's the thing. A lot of everybody's going to have to take at least one. We're halfway through the season. They're already taking all of their engines
Yeah, I think.
and taking a penalty.
I think
So
if
it's
Max.
going to be really interesting.
Well, did you see the theory that Max strategically takes his at Spa?
Yeah, for sure. Because
Yeah,
he's good at Spa, and
yeah.
they can come
He
back.
can work.
from
Yeah,
all
he
stuff.
can work his way back.
Which
up.
I think is smart. So
Yeah.
they might have one engine kind of in the bank already that's still good,
Right.
and they just decide to take one just because
Like-
they know they're going to have to in 4 races.
Yeah.
So they might not have to take another one, but maybe they have to take another penalty somewhere.
Realistically, if Max stays in the top 5, he'll win the title again.
I'm sure Max.
You-
can win
you
the
need-
title.
yeah,
he's
you-
racing good.
Lando needs. As much as.
They'd have to really shit the bed.
Yeah, you need a couple. I think you need at least a couple DNFs and a
Yeah,
couple a
yeah.
couple out of the points paying.
Just like I think you need Red Bull not performing for the next half of season.
Yeah, the only
like
person
half
that's-
of the next season, half of the next half.
Yeah. the only person that's going to beat Red Bull at this point is Red Bull. Like
Yeah,
Red Bull's
yeah.
going to beat themselves.
It's theirs to lose.
Yeah.
For sure.
For the Drivers' Cup. Obviously, the constructors. Where are they at?
The constructors is not that far off. They could definitely lose that if
Let's see, standings constructors. Red Bull's at 408. McLaren's at 366, so that's not far off.
No, they're there.
And Ferrari's at 345.
Yeah, they're like
Mercedes is definitely back there by 266. So
yeah, they're back.
but they're coming up. They're coming. Then after that though, everything's less than 100 points. Like Aston Martin's 73.
yeah.
AlphaTauri's 34. Haas is 27. Sauber has no points.
Yeah,
Dude, do you just need a race where half the field crashed out? Like, or like the top bottom 5 crash
Yeah.
out, and then at least gives you a chance. But
Yeah, it's crazy.
that's crazy that they have no points. That's wild.
Yeah.
Williams got 4 points though.
Alex.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
That's rough.
I'm hungry. I'm cutting the show.
Are you?
I don't know. What else we gotta talk about?
I'm just looking at the news and see.
It's almost my bedtime.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Go to
forgot
bed
you
at
wake
8,
up. You wake up
get
at
up
an
at
ungodly
5.
hour. I call bullshit. Jen's gone. The games are going.
Because I can play video games during the day. I don't need to stay up all night. When Jen's here, I can't play during the day, so I stay up all night.
Why can't you play during the day?
She fucking hates it.
I don't know why we're talking about this recording, but that's funny.
Personal life.
The pool boy. The
Follow me
pool.
on Twitch.
The pool boys gotta get to work. Yeah, if we're shamelessly dropping tags, go follow Bo Daddy Official on Instagram. We're gonna be dropping merch soon. And
Go follow it. And I'm just gonna beep. No, I'm just kidding.
black it out. Sounds like a teleprompter. Oh, no, not telegram. Telegram? No. What is that thing? The fucking Morse code thing.
Oh, like a typewriter?
No, not typewriter.
Yeah,
like,
Morse code. I don't know.
it's like they press the button.
I know what
it
you're
sends,
talking about.
Yeah.
It is Morse code, but
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Anyways, thanks for joining in.
Like,
Sorry
share,
it
subscribe.
took us so long to get on this. Life's been a little crazy, and
It's summer.
It's summer.
There's a lot of shit going on, but
Yeah.
we're back. We're
let's
back in
let's
action.
not give them that much hope. It's still summer grind for me, dude. I'm
Or well, I'm back.
litty,
Maybe.
litty off the titty.
I'm a streamer now, so.
You gave up. Well, if you have
I have-
anything you want to see,
I have
like, comment,
18
subscribe.
subscribers.
Nice.
In
About
a-
as much as
in a
our
week.
YouTube page.
In a week.
Are you streaming like every day?
Yes.
Dude, I would stream every time I got on, and I.
Like, share, subscribe. We will catch you on the next one.
Adios.
Hiya.